Hello, everybody. Just getting everything set up here on Facebook. Give me one more second. Hello, everybody. Just getting everything set up here on Facebook. Okay, it looks like we are live and the audio is good. I'm just going to get it so you can see comments and away we go. Oh, interesting how they do the comments. Anyways, let's get this recorded and away we go. Recording in progress. Good to see everybody today. My apologies. I had just started using an app called Clubhouse and I misscheduled using the tool, and I was going to do a live on Awakening Through Sexuality today on Clubhouse, but it ended up it's actually happening tomorrow. So my apologies for people that were hoping for it. So hopefully this will cover because of that mistake. But I invite you to join on Clubhouse. It's a beautiful forum. It doesn't have any video. It's all about audio, but you can basically invite speakers to chat, kind of like Zoom or whatever, but it doesn't get the complexity of the video in. And it can be a really nice collaborative discussion. So I'm here in my orange, which is a lower chakra color today. And I want to talk to people a little bit about the gifts that I've got and my life experience and a path that not many have taken. And it's made it kind of complex for me in my life because, how to say it? It's like a lot of people don't understand me. People in my family, people in my close circle see me as a person that is walking a different path. To really understand me, you need to be aware that I came here and had a lot of crazy life experiences to train me and to push me in a direction of leading and giving information back to the world that hasn't been in the world or has been repressed for a very long time. A lot of that information is around sexuality, and that's a topic that just even saying that word can put a little trigger in people's tummy and make them feel very uncomfortable. For me, it was a life of exploration about being scared about sexuality, not engaging in sexuality because there was so much complexity and so much unsaid about something that was so sacred and so deep inside me that I was ashamed. I was ashamed to touch myself or be sexual with myself. I was ashamed to suggest it with another person. And in my journey, I have discovered that sexuality has such an important part of being a human being integrated in it. It's our birthright. It's our innocence. It's our pleasure. It's our play. And I live in a world. I grew up Catholic. The first thing, it's like shame. You never go there. You never talk about it. You never touch yourself. You can only have it for making babies and all this kind of stuff. And I never really resonated and understood it. Why would a church and supposedly our connection to God and to higher self want to shame us about this essential part of ourselves and this tool that basically heals our nervous system, normalizes us, gives us oxytocin, serotonins, all these beautiful medicines out of our brain just through sexuality and orgasm. And you have to go down the rabbit hole pretty far to start to be aware. So if you really wanted to fuck a person up, excuse my French, would you not take away this thing and put a whole bunch of rules around it that is a way of us getting and feeling good, normalizing ourselves, going back to reset our nervous system, etc., how would you do it? You'd take away that fundamental part of being a human being and put a whole bunch of rules around it, and then shame and guilt the frick out of it. I don't know how many people know, but in Christian churches, Catholic Church, it's been actually a stonable offense to touch yourself for your own pleasure. Who the hell came up with that story? And I'll tell you right now, most people have a huge amount of shame or guilt around their own personal self-pleasure practices, and they go and hide in their room and hide under the covers and turn off the lights and feel ashamed about it afterwards. Why? You didn't hurt anybody. You satisfied your own needs. You weren't running around in lack and need, hurting other people or trying to take from them. Why? Why would giving ourselves pleasure and that release, and then having all these feel-good hormones come in, they call it the petite mort, or the small death, where you have that and you just basically go almost out of body and start to feel good. And then we live in a society where, going and playing with yourself and having pleasure and all this kind of stuff is shamed, and you can't do that. And kids are taught from an early age to hide in the bathroom and do it as quick as possible and not make any noise and all these things. And when you start to grow into your fullness of your being, and I've been doing a lot of that lately, those things are so important about being human being, being happy, being aware, being in your body, feeling safe in your body. And all these rules and all these things that have repressed it, take it away. And I just want you to feel that in your body. It's like, why is it taken away? We're living in a time where a huge amount of control is starting to show up, and these fucked up, excuse my French, perspectives of what's okay, what's good, what's societal norm, what is other people can feel comfortable with, has everything to do with pleasing everybody outside of ourselves, but has nothing to do it for ourselves. Can you imagine a person that finds out another person had a pleasurable self-pleasure experience and they feel ashamed about it for themselves? What are they going to do to you? They're going to go to you and say, what the hell are you doing? What's wrong with you? You're going to grow hair on your palms. You're going to do all this stuff, and none of it's freaking true. I'm going to tell you a secret, that they want it too, but they ate the Kool-Aid and they want to get you to stop because they feel bad because they haven't had that opportunity. So my role, and going through a lot of my own repression in church and in state and the communities they lived in, and even family and parents, my family couldn't even speak of the genital parts by their actual names. It was a peanut and a mini. That shows how much shame and programming of even the words of our genitals, which are a part of us. And if we can't accept that parts of us by their real name and what their function is, and that there's pleasure involved, look at the repression in that. And I don't know how it came, and there's no blame that this happened, but it just goes to show underneath that there's this programming that anything to do with sexuality and our bodies being sexual is bad. So how to describe this? So I went through a lot of crazy experiences, things like sexless marriages, and waiting until I was 30 before I became sexually active, because I was so scared and did not know how to approach women, did not have any mechanism for normalizing meeting with women and all this kind of thing. And even then, I had to just wait until I found somebody that I felt was safe, which ended up being my wife. So I married the first person I had my sexuality with. And then I was kind of lost in this journey. It's like, oh, well, once you get into that relationship, the thing that's supposed to be permissive, being marriage, isn't always permissive. Your partner doesn't want it. Your partner has traumas. So starting to see underneath it, I've started to feel I'm a very physical person. My love languages are physicality and touch and feeling loved in that way. And I started to really realize how important touch and physicality and all these kind of things are in your world. And I got to a point in my life where I had to make a choice. Either I keep giving love in those other love languages where people like it, not receiving in my love language, and then dying. I literally think I was like 5% of my love left in my body, and I would have probably had a heart attack and died. And I got out the other side, and it was really messy for a while, and cleaned everything up. And I kept going back, and what I channel, what my guides and spirits tell me, and what I know inside just started opening and opening and opening. And it showed that the sexuality we know as human beings on this planet is very friction-based, full of shame and really complex rules, and a huge amount of not communicating. And I saw this light, and I started to see underneath all of it, and started to understand how it's been so twisted that people can't live. They can't live a normalized life, and they're chasing. And then we have all these bad side effects where people are living in lack of their sexuality. They don't receive touch, and men are supposedly labeled the perpetrators of all this kind of stuff. But men are living in a society where they can't ask for touch unless they're married sometimes, or they'll give a hug and women can feel uncomfortable, or other things. And it's just so twisted. And men don't normally touch each other. The hug is like a top, or a swat on the butt or whatever. And they're living in a lot of lack. And I'm going to tell you right now, women are living in a lot of lack too. Yeah, they're just pummeled by men being direct about what they want, and men are sending them pictures of their body that they don't like, etc. Oh, because we're so mangled up about sexuality. If we just had people in our life that we felt safe that we could share that with, and maybe you didn't have to lock yourself into marriage to be able to experience those. And a lot of people are doing it. Don't fucking look at me and say, oh, well, that's wrong and that's bad. Most people through their high school and early ages are doing it anyways, and just running around with a whole pile of shame and guilt. Where if we could normalize a society where people and sexuality was okay, and you found people in and made connections with them, and made agreements to explore those things with people without having to lock yourself into marriage. I'm going to conjecture right now to anybody that thinks that marriage is utterly important. I want you to look. I want you to see how many people have had 3, 5, 7 different marriages trying to find a partner that they're compatible with. And don't tell me it didn't work out. I'm going to tell you that relationship is a form of spiritual awakening. It's joining with another person that you trust to explore like vibration, which is that attraction that we feel. And then a lot of times that attraction turns into clashing around certain traumas, and then it blows up, and everything breaks. And I'm not saying these things are bad. I'm saying this is part of the control. This is part of what's been designed to keep us unhappy. Chasing, having bad relationships, having things not normalized is going to keep you like a sheep. Go to your job, keep your wife happy, sit in the status quo, be really angry, be really frustrated, don't have any releases in your life, and then be ashamed about the times that you do, or I got to now find somebody outside the marriage to do it, or whatever, to make me feel good. And it's so mangled. These things are, if anything, re-traumatizing us, or making even more traumas in us, and we're not healing. So instead, we need to find a place where we can start to heal with all this stuff, starting to honor our body first, starting to explore what our desires are, what our touch things are, what's really important to us. And instead of chasing around trying to find it in this societally programmed way, oh, find a mate and marry her, and then have some kids, and get a house, and get a big job, and get the trailers and cars, and then crash and burn because you're so under debt and have no choice. You combined your finances, your house, your safety, all with a person now that you're screaming at because you don't have the tools to be able to explore and to understand what's going on. And a lot of the stuff that's playing out in our marriages are from our parents' marriages and in our lineage, and we don't even know that. So the gifts that I've been given, I can see underneath all that. In my awakening journey, I've had to look at all the shit and be aware for me what my whys of what I was doing. And the gifts that I've been given are not just for me. They got to be shared. They got to be talked about, because people are feeling this all over the place. And I have these tools and I have these skills, and I'm empathic and other things where I sit down and talk with people and go underneath and explore the whys of who they are. And being that I know where the whys are, I can ask really laser focused questions that can be extremely healing. Why are you doing that to yourself? Why are you loving a person that's not sending love back? Why are you expecting to be heard by but not speaking? Why are you hoping that things are going to get better, or that he'll touch you, or that she'll touch you, and didn't even ask? And then feeling so lost and angry because you never asked. Well, that's not societally okay, or that made somebody feel uncomfortable, or I wouldn't be pleasing them, or why are you having sex with a person and hating yourself for having sex because marriage says you have to, and that's the wife's or the husband's role. What the fuck? So to just reframe for a person, to sit, get them to be grounded, get them to feel in their body, and then start asking questions. And then teaching them tools. How do you deal with trigger? I did a good training on it a week or so ago, just go down my timeline. But how do you deal with trigger? What is a trigger? Oh, I'm angry and I'm frustrated and I want to scream and I want to hit them and I want to run away and blah, 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 blah. These are the traumas showing up. Bubble, 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 bubble. That's a trigger. It's like, oh, don't touch me here, or don't poke this thing. It's going to hurt me. To give people the ability to understand that they have trauma and that it's hidden underneath and it's from a previous experience, and then it's wrapped around a whole bunch of other experiences. And then to sit with yourself as you're feeling those energies and just start to percolate and feel it, and not project and not scream and yell and want to hurt someone because you didn't have the strength to hurt someone at the time that it happened, is self-responsibility, is accountability. And to sit with somebody in their darkest trigger, which I do all the time, and hold space for them, because I've been to that fucking bottom and screamed and yelled and been so pervertedly angry and frustrated that I wanted to tear someone's head off. And I can sit there and help them breathe. I feel it. Growl, moan, scream, punch a pillow, and watch them and hold that space and help them feel that they're not going to explode into a million shiny pieces by feeling their fullest expression of rage, their fullest expression of grief. And then once they've got the tools to be able to sit in those triggers and then sit with them and just feel that, I want to hurt, and just take a breath and ground and hold that present in your chest, and then be able to say, oh, I'm angry. Oh, your inner child, the parts of you inside that are powerful, all of a sudden say, holy fuck, I'm being seen. Now there's somebody actually expressing that there's an emotion here. And then to watch a person walk through that, to grow and start to say, oh, I love this. This is hurting and my back feels sore. And all of a sudden you're going to start feeling your power. Look at all the ways that we've been shut down. So helping people explore triggers, walking through that energy, talking to them about what innocence and purity there is in sexuality, how to ground their body, how to breathe, how to talk to themselves, how to make a relationship with yourself. Are you in your body or out of your body? Here's a good question for you right now. Are you in your body or out of your body? I bet you 10 to 1, if you closed your eyes and you felt yourself, you'd find out I'm even it right now, because I'm excited. You're about 1.5 feet above your body. Ground yourself. Start to feel back into your body. I was excited, and I have my own shames and guilts that I'm still percolating with on occasion. That'll pull you out of your body. And then you can't feel your body. You don't know why it's tight, why it's sore. The gifts that I've learned and feeling it in my body, I can now teach and share with other people how to be with that, how to be with ourselves, how to honor our body, and how to honor who's underneath. And then when you start to love yourself and you find that self-love and you start to honor your traumas and find people and communities and spaces to start to do self-exploration of that, where they can hold you and they can say, holy cow, calm down, just take a breath for a second here, sit with me. We're going to get you grounded so that you're not going and smashing and trashing a bunch of people and re-traumatizing. Here, let's talk about it. What are you feeling? Who's in your space right now? What's going on? These tools are massive. Now I'm going to tell you a secret as you dig deeper into this. If instead of having a community, we can have partners, our relationship, the people that we're sexual with, all be taught these exact same rules, and they are the best person in our world to hold a mirror for us, to speak to us and say, holy fuck, you're shitting all over yourself. What's going on here? And it's trying to hurt me. And I love you so much. I'm going to hold this mirror up and I'm going to send you back exactly what you're saying. So that finally you can say, oh, fuck, I was a monster and I didn't intend this. But most people are just living in this trigger and trauma and chase and hurt. So teaching people the tools to be able to step into this. Life can feel very hard, difficult, full of traumas, triggers, lessons, all this kind of stuff all day long. But I'm going to tell you right now, once you incorporate your sexuality into it, our pleasure, this is the tools that God, the divine, universe, source, whatever words you want to use for the higher energies, gave us to normalize our body and to self-correct and to medicate through pleasure. God did not intend us to go sit with a psychologist and desensitized for the next 10 years of our life so that we can be normal. He gave us this tool of our self-pleasure and our genitals and other parts of us to be able to share with other people or with ourselves first, because you got to long and enjoy yourself first. And then when you can open up to other people, it lets you kind of crack open and lets these cracks open in your body and emotions come out in the held arms of our lover. But most lovers don't know how to hold that. They don't know that it's normal to cry. And when you crack a trauma in a yoni or a lingam, that person may be feeling a huge amount of pressure, but at the same time be screaming in anger, screaming in grief, in crying tears, and their whole body is just like falling apart, completely open, just wanting to be felt and a container held so that we don't feel so broken. We just kind of burn ourselves down in that moment of pleasure and it's like alchemy. And truly it is, if we can go into a huge amount of detail, but an alchemist would have this thing called a crucible, and they'd pour the gold in, or they'd put the lead in and transmute it, and they'd boil it till it was like red hot. And then all this black stuff would show up on the top. That's called the dross. Well, that's our trauma. That's the emotions. That's these things that no longer serve us, that have kept us from being pure. It was mixed in. We weren't 99% pure. We were maybe 80% pure because of all this stuff had gone in and cracked up our system. Well, now that partner holds you until you come back. And then that dross, you sweep it off at the top. And now you got a nice gold brick that's you. And maybe the first time you're 90% pure, and then the next time you're 95, and you keep going until you're 99.9999. That's the process of awakening. That's the process of opening our body, releasing shame, blame, guilt. So I speak about things that matter. I speak about them in a respectful way. And if you disagree, you can talk to me about it or whatever, but I conjecture to look inside first. Is that shame? Is that blame? Is that anger at somebody speaking more openly? Is that yours first? Because I come from a place of purity. And the only reason I even looked up and questioned that is I still have a few little shames back there, but I know this is true. And I'm not doing it for my own personal gratification or getting you into explore sexuality with you or something like that. It's none of that. None of that. It's about speaking of my experience, hearing of your experience, reframing so that you can find that purified way of exploring yourself, using your sexuality, your pleasure, your body. And then when you feel confident and you're loving yourself beautifully, then you can share that with other people. You can have held space with the people that you want in your world, and magic will happen because you trust, and everybody's worked through their stuff, and it's amazing. So sexuality isn't bad. And the very reason you feel uncomfortable about it, hearing it from other people, is the exact reason why you got to talk more about it. Where's the shame? Where's the blame? Where does it feel in your body? Why does it hurt? Who said you couldn't? All these things. And when you get to the place and you can speak about this part of the human experience that's most beautiful, most pleasurable, most fun, most playful, and you can have more of that experience in your life without feeling shamed and guilted and worried about what other people are going to think, you're going to live as that free little inner child that's you, that has the adult that can make conscious choices now, but can also let its hair down and play. Because most of us have that inner child caged up, angry, frustrated, and impossible to have a beautiful life. So if there's questions, I'm open to taking them for the next couple of minutes. I don't know how many people are on. I see one's watching at the moment here, but I love you. I want these things for you. It was so hard for me to find them for me, and I had to look at so much shit inside of me. I want that path to be easier for everyone, and to get back to that part of ourselves that's been so shamed and so repressed to completely control us, to find a path back to that, that's simple, that's self-accountable, that's within your comfort, your morals, your feelings of what's good. And then magic happens, because then you get to choose for yourself, and people love that. And then they're going to question, and then they're going to open. You're going to literally be this shining light that opens other people to their own sexuality. So I'm not here to beat people senseless and make them scared or make them uncomfortable. But if I make them uncomfortable from shining a light of truth that's true, I have to continue to do that, whether it makes people feel uncomfortable or not. I have some people that come and say, oh, well, that's not safe, or whatever. Well, would you not prefer? I don't even have to say words to make people uncomfortable with this, about this topic. I can just smile and shine, or even hand my card over, or whatever, and they'll like, what's that? Sexuality? Ooh, that's scary. And I can immediately see all the repression and all the control that's in them. And I hope by hearing me say these words, to, if you got to this point, just exploring your body, what me talking about this stuff and smiling about it, and being so open and direct about it. How does it feel in your body, and why does it feel that way? And is that good or bad? Who knows? There's no good or bad. It's just about understanding our whys and why we're making choices that may not be ours, etc., etc. So I love you all. I thank you for listening, and I wish you so much joy and so much self-exploration. And always follow me, and I will always tell you the truth from my perspective, what I learned. If you're willing and you want it, you can save a lot of struggle and time by these perspectives that are well honed and well thought out. And that's my gift, just by talking to people every day. So I wish the camera is in the middle of the screen, but I got this big screen and I feel like I'm looking up and down. But anyways, I love you all, and I wish you well, and we'll talk more soon. Have a great day. Thank you for listening. See you soon.